Alrighty, Alora. So before we begin, I would like to just let you know that this entire session is under confidentiality, and what that is just like a veil of trust between you and me. I won't say anything that you tell me outside of this room, and yeah, there's a lot of limits to that. But where the limits are breached are if there's any reasonable concern that you are likely to harm yourself and or another person, I may need to take action necessary to protect you or others by contacting law enforcement or a physician. If there is a reasonable concern that a child, elderly person, person with a disability, or a prisoner has been abused, neglected, or subjected to financial exploitation, I am required to report that to an appropriate state agency. There's any reason or concern that you or someone you know is at threat to to national security, I'm required to report that threat. And then if your records are requested by a valid subpoena or court order, I must respond. Okay. So yes, anything else that is said in here, I won't tell anybody, and you're free to say whatever you want. Okay.
Thank you.
And today's session is going to be a little different than a normal session. So we're basically going to cover a lot of the big topics, but we're not going to go into depth with a lot of them. Later on, we can go into more depth with your entire story or whatever you need to tell me, but right now I just need to get the big concerns out of the way so I know how to move forward and address all your problems, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so what brings you in today?
Well, I have two older sisters, and both of them have left the house, and so I'm like the only child now, and I'm just really struggling with them being gone.
Mm-hmm. And why are you struggling with that?
I just kind of miss them, and I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of lonely in the house, and I find myself alone a lot, like not hanging out with my friends because I'm feeling sad, and I don't want to like make my friends sad because that's not fun, and just, yeah, kind of missing them.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that you're missing them. What exactly comes from missing them? Like,
well, we used to like hang out quite a bit, and now my eldest sister Rianne, she doesn't speak to my family anymore, and then my second oldest sister Sarah, she moved to Oregon for college, so I'm just kind of like not able to talk to them, not able to see them, and I don't know, it's just really different because I grew up my whole life like with people around and with my sisters around, and they're really close support system for me, and so only being able to like FaceTime with them or talk to them on the phone is just really different.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing that you're really your emotions are taking a toll because your sisters aren't around, and you've had them around for a good majority of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I can understand that. So like, is there anybody else in the house that you can talk to?
Yeah, both my parents, they're still together, and I have a really good relationship with my parents. It's just that, like, I don't know, sisterhood's really different, you know, than like a bond with a mom or a dad. I feel like our family's always been really open and really honest, and like I can talk to them for sure and like let them know what's going on, and they do know what's going on, obviously, because I'm here and I'm a minor. So, but it's just not the same, you know. Like sisterhood, you can really like let go and be free and like giggle a lot and whatever, and just have that really good relationship.
So, with them being gone, how is your like, how are your emotions, your thoughts, or your mood? Like, how are those being affected?
I think I've been really upset lately and just kind of down in the dumps. I don't really like, I don't think my thoughts have been changing. Like, I still like know who I am and my schooling's fine. I don't know. I think it's really my mood that's being affected and like my relationships with my friends, because I'm not really like seeing them as often because I'm using that time to like call them or talk to them instead of like, hang on, Sarah, like I'm gonna go hang out with some friends, call you later, you know?
Yeah, it can be really hard to balance your friends with your family members sometimes.
Yeah.
So would you say that your school life or your friends in general, are the relationships suffering?
I think a little bit, yeah, like not like detrimental to where like we're not friends anymore, but they can definitely tell that I'm upset and like sometimes they get frustrated when I don't want to hang out or with them just like at home on FaceTime with my sisters or whatever, which they get and they support me, but it's still kind of frustrating for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
And with their frustration, how does that make you feel?
I don't know, kind of well, sad that they're frustrated because like they're my friends and I want them to be happy, but also kind of like angry that they're not more understanding, you know. Kind of like on the fence about that because I get how I'm like neglecting them, but they're also neglecting me.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of feel like they should be more understanding of your situation?
Yeah, yeah.
So how is your sleep affected?
I think my sleep's fine. I've always been like easily rested, you know, where I can like fall asleep anywhere and anytime kind of thing. So it's pretty good.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
All right. And so you said that your relationship with your parents is a good one.
Yeah.
What did your childhood kind of look like?
Well, I grew up in Denver and we moved a lot, but like only houses. We never moved school districts, which was really cool because I've always been in the same school district, so I never have to like make new friends, so to say. Like obviously make new friends, but never start over, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, I grew up in Denver, moved around. 2 sisters, my mom and my dad, and then yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I've always kind of been pretty active. Like I've been in gymnastics for a really long time, and then I like to sing, and I'm in choir in school right now, and yeah,
Sounds like fun.
yeah.
Do you have any other like close circles that you run in?
I think it's mainly gymnastics and choir, so that's really nice. So to just like escape from that and have to like be present in the moment, you know.
I heard you mention the word escape. So do you feel like when you go to gymnastics or choir, you're like escaping your like home life?
Yeah, I would say that. When I go to gymnastics, I feel like I'm kind of forced to focus on the sport, which is really good because I love that sport and it really takes me away from it. And then once I get back home, it's not like a terrible environment, but it's also just like a constant reminder that like I'm the only kid in the house now. I have no sisters around. So.
Do you have like some close relationships with people to where you can speak to them about these issues?
Yeah. I have a lot of close friends, and then I'm dating a guy named Marcus, and he's really supportive. But I mean, I can talk to them about it, but then it's kind of redundant. Like, oh, I miss them, and they're like, I know, I'm sorry.
Like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like you do have a lot of support systems, but they kind of just like brush you off sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. Not that they don't like want to support me, but
overall there is a lot of support.
Yeah,
that's good. Definitely good.
You're good.
This is so professional. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So with your sisters being gone, you said that you like to throw yourself into gymnastics and choir. What other like things do you do to cope with them being gone?
I like to read, which is really good. I feel like a good book can really take me out of the home life, just like gymnastics. That's why I'm kind of like forced to focus on it. I don't know. Other than gymnastics and choir, just reading, I think. And friends.
And has this ever been an issue before in terms of like people being gone and you being affected by it?
Not really. Like I guess the only two instances is that like Cicera left for college, and then Rianne, the eldest sister, she like I don't know, kind of like disowned herself from our family, and so those have been only like the two instances. So it's really new and fresh, and I think that's why I'm kind of like so affected by it.
That makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like this is the first instance of you really being affected like this. You really have to like deal with it.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to counseling before?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I've been like, this is like the first instance where I've actually been like upset to where it affects my day and like stuff like that.
That makes sense. And so with those things in mind, for some people, in order for me to get like a better view of who you are, there's some identities that people can describe themselves as. This can be like who they identify as spiritually or religiously. It can be politically or like any important identities like that.
Okay.
Are there any that stand out to you?
Well, I'm not religious, but I'm not like against it. I just didn't grow up that way. And then, the female, right? And then, let's see here. I don't know. I grew up pretty privileged, I think. So, like, my childhood like represents my culture and how like I have a lot of opportunities and stuff like that, and so that's really nice.
Do you feel like any of these identities have affected your life so far?
In a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not negatively. I don't think that. I don't know. I haven't gotten any grief for them in the past.
Okay. Okay. So, with these things in mind, like I'm just wondering, how would you like to like advance in therapy? How would you like to help yourself go forward and kind of help yourself deal with the fact that your sisters are gone and just things like that? Like, what would you like to do with me?
Honestly, I just enjoy talking about it, which is really nice. I also am like kind of angry at myself for being so wrapped up in it. Like, I do miss them, and I'm like angry that it's affecting my life so much that I like might lose my friends or like I might get disconnected, and so maybe just like finding a way to organize my time, I guess. And like when I should pick up the phone and call them, and when I should say, you know what, I talked to them yesterday or whatever like that. It's just really hard for me to prioritize. So
Okay, those all sound great to me. I definitely would like to go through these questions at least a little bit more, just so I know like the entirety of your situation. Could you tell me a little bit more about your relationships with your sisters?
yeah, so the oldest sister, Rianne, she is my half sister. So her dad died when she was 1, and then my mom married my dad. And so I guess there's always been that like, I don't know, tension because I don't know, she likes to argue. And so it's always been brought up like, well, you're only my half sister, which is like really shitty, but I don't know, that's always been like the center of tension between us. Sarah and I are whole sisters. We have same mom, same dad, and so not for that reason, but we get along really well. And I don't know. Sarah's been always like my fallback and like my shoulder to cry on, and Rihanna has been not as much so, like a caregiving figure, you know. about 6 months ago, she decided to like disown our family and just like leave. And so I haven't talked to her in like 6 months. I tried to reach out, but she only reached out to Sarah when Sarah moved to Oregon so that she could like say goodbye. But I kind of feel like because she's angry with my parents, she's angry with me, even though like I didn't do anything. And like, so that relationship is kind of like dissipated and disintegrated and stuff.
So it sounds to me like you have a much closer relationship with your one sister than with your other sister.
Yeah.
How does that affect you?
I don't know. As a kid, we were all like I didn't notice it as much, but I mean, as we got older, I felt like I could feel my favoritism towards Sarah rather than Rhiannon, and I don't know. It kind of makes me feel like because we're only half sisters, but like that's not it at all, and I feel like that's really mean to say, but I feel like that's always what she brought up, and so that's always what it was, you know.
Yeah. And it can be kind of hard with that constant reminder. And I'm sure with you guys being such a close family that it's really hard when there's some sort of like wedge in between like the relationships that you have.
Yeah, I agree. I think that after she like left and hasn't been talking to us, it's kind of bonded us together, like the four of us, rather than like Rhiannon joining us and being all five. But I don't know, that also kind of sucks to think about, that we're bonding out of the fact that she doesn't want to be in this family anymore. You know? And so that also makes me upset.
And I heard you use the word bonding a few times. So to a lot of families, bonding can be like a very big piece of the relationship. And so do you think that your bond with your family has been kind of lost maybe a little bit because your one family member has left, your one sister has left?
A little bit of both, I think, to where it's like made stronger and also kind of like dissipated, just because we're all kind of like, we've been in shock that she's been so angry at my parents and like decided to leave and not talk to us. And so like that, I think that bonded us together, but also it's like we're missing a whole piece of our family, you know? So that's also been upsetting. I think that we've all kind of been like grieving in our own way, and like we don't know when she's gonna come back. She's an adult, and we don't know like if she'll ever. So yeah.
And so like, how does that affect you personally? Like her leaving?
Sometimes I feel like that when she like gets angry at my parents, when she left, she was like angry at me even though I didn't do anything, and so kind of feeling like abandoned by her and have no cause to do anything because she just left and that's her choice, and so I'm feeling kind of like neglected and abandoned by her.
Yeah, it sounds to me like that has really made an impact in your life.
I think so. I think that being able to talk to Sarah because she's just in Oregon and she still wants to be part of this family has been like, I don't know, maybe another coping mechanism for me dealing with Rhiannon leaving, because I can't talk to her and I can't see her.
Do your like close friends know about this whole situation?
My boyfriend does, and then like one or two of them, but not a lot, just because of like the severity of why Rhiannon is mad at my parents.
So do you think that like it's kind of, you think when your friends kind of brush you off when you're telling them about your situation, do you think that makes you feel like worse because you actually know the background of the issue?
I think that when they just kind of like brush it off and say like, oh, I know you miss them, but like you're hanging out with us, and I don't know. It does make me upset, but I try not to be, just because they will get angry at that too. And so I kind of just like brush it off, really.
Like